Have you ever heard a song so powerful, it scared the authorities? A song that sparked protests, inspired rebellion, and then suddenly vanished from the airwaves. This is the untold story of a song that was secretly banned, not because it was vulgar, not because it was violent, but because it spoke the truth. Welcome to Tales Unseen. Today, we uncover the hidden history behind the melody that made governments tremble. Let's go back to 1987, a country on edge, civil unrest simmering, whispers of resistance in the air, and then, a song begins to spread through the streets. A folk ballad titled, Voices in the Fire. It wasn't on the radio, it wasn't in stores. It was passed from hand to hand, cassette to cassette, a whisper that grew into a roar. The voice behind it, a teacher named Daniel Crow. Daniel wasn't a rock star, he was quiet, soft-spoken. He taught literature by day, wrote poetry by night, but Daniel had seen things. He had lost things. In 1985, he witnessed a peaceful protest, where students were gunned down. One of them was his brother. Weeks later, he refused to teach a government-modified curriculum. He was fired. His students were interrogated. His home was watched. Daniel turned his pain into music. Voices Fire was born, not in a studio, but in a friend's dusty garage. An acoustic guitar begins with light vinyl crackle.
The original recording? Raw. One take, a single mic, a guitar, and Daniel's trembling voice. He sang, "When silence walks in uniforms, and truth is gagged with fear, we'll sing beneath the ashes." These weren't just lyrics. They were resistance. Rising dramatic tone. Students made copies. Taxi drivers played it on loop. Radio DJs snuck it into broadcasts at 3 a.m. Soon, protest crowds began chanting the chorus, "We'll sing beneath the ashes." The regime took notice, and they acted fast. Music dim. Every radio station received a strict directive. Lower tone, effective immediately. The broadcast of Voices in the Fire is prohibited under Section 12 of National Harmony Regulations. SFX, static or paper flipping briefly. DJs were fined. Cassette owners were arrested. Some people were detained for humming the tune in public. And Daniel disappeared. No arrest. No trial, no trace, just gone.
Dark, hopeful beat begins, but the regime made one fatal mistake. They tried to erase a song without understanding how deeply it had already taken root. Bootleg copies re-emerged. Now, they started with a whispered message. For Daniel, for the fire, musicians began embedding the melody into jazz riffs. DJs slowed it down and changed the name. Spoken word poets performed the lyrics in cafes and alleys. The resistance now had a soundtrack. Then came 1992. A journalist visiting the capital smuggled a cassette out of the country. He brought it to New York. Soon, a headline in the New York Times read, "The song they tried to erase." The world took notice. Amnesty International named it the Anthem of Invisible Resistance. A Grammy-winning artist released a cover. Suddenly, everyone was asking the same question. Where was Daniel Crow? A renovation crew working on an old farmhouse made a discovery. Behind a sealed wall, they found a tin box. Inside it, a cassette, a notebook, and a letter. The cassette was labeled, "Final Cut." The notebook, filled with poetry in Daniel's handwriting. And the letter, "If you find this, it means the fire still burns. Let it burn, until the shadows are afraid to return." The tape held a new song. It was a goodbye. A few years later, declassified documents confirmed the truth. The regime had officially listed Voices in the Fire as a class of subversive audio artifact. Why? Because it made people think. Because it whispered what others feared to say. Because it united more than it divided. Because it inspired hope. And for a dictatorship, that's dangerous. Today, Voices in the Fire is studied in universities, sampled in modern protest songs, remembered by those who heard it in the dark. Daniel Crow, he remains a mystery. No photos, no confirmed sightings, no memorial, but his song, his fire, still burns. Because when a song speaks the truth, you can ban it, but you can't erase it. Thank you for watching Tales Unseen. If this story moved you, please like, comment, and subscribe. And most importantly, share it, because stories like this deserve to be heard. Until next time, keep listening.